freemmmostation.com.
It's that time of the year again. It's time where we update our list of most anticipated free MMORPGs due to the many requests that we get. So by now you should probably know that some of these games may actually end up as buy to play or pay to play, but right now there's no business model revealed, so please bear with us. You'll probably notice a few newcomers and some good old friends on the list. Well, let's give a big welcome to them all. I'm Skyline Shore, and this is the top 10 most anticipated free MMORPG games 2013 to 2015.
Number 10.
Yes, we're still expecting Phantasy Star Online 2 in the West. And sure, we're pretty disappointed at the lack of news and the likelihood that Sega might just cancel the release altogether. But it's not over until the fat anime lady sings. Even if this Japanese sci-fi epic is far from groundbreaking and there are some complaints about the way of payments to properly enjoy the game, it is still fun. Combat is fast-paced and it should appeal to plenty of players out there. But it's either 2014 or we're taking it out of the equation entirely, sadly.
Number 9.
A new lineage is always something to keep an eye out for, and even more when NCSoft is going the Diablo way on Lineage Eternal Twilight Resistance. This means an online action RPG that happens to look really good and offers massive scale battles, and mouse gestures to perform special skills, and some awesome bosses. We're also promised a camera that places itself in the best view in all situations, though this is something that we're going to have to see to actually believe. This is going to come out in 2015 most likely, and we're only talking about Korea then.
Number 8.
We've covered this one before, so you are probably still wondering why it's called Mabinogi, but looks like Vindictus. Then, you're probably not aware that Vindictus is originally called Mabinogi Heroes. Now, we are not too sure about calling Mabinogi 2 Arena a sequel or spin-off to Vindictus, but we do know a bit about the gameplay. Combat is akin to a fighting game with moves such as countering, blocking, grabbing, throwing enemies, and even slapping. The idea is to make the game more skill-based and less button spammy. The arena aspect is due to the fact that players can watch other play and interact in ways such as giving an item and vice versa. It's definitely an interesting feature, and the game is shaping up to be one of the best action combat MMOs ever.
Number 7.
ArcheAge is part of a group of Asian MMOs that seem to be unsure about showing up in the West, even if Trine Worlds is supposedly working on it for quite some time. Despite an underwhelming Korean performance, ArcheAge is still one of the most ambitious sandbox MMO games ever created. One time you could be tending to your farm animals, and then the next you're in the high sea battling other players while a kraken is waiting to destroy your boats. There's really just so much you can do and explore in this game that it possibly could have scared away some players that normally like roller coasters or would be taken by the hand in games. As for us though, we love the freedom that it offers, we can't wait for it to come if it ever does.
Number 6.
Alright, let's give this some thought. The Monster Hunter series is hugely popular in Japan and has a very, very loyal following in the United States. And yet Capcom decided to develop the second Monster Hunter Online exclusively for China. Go figure, right? Anyway, we still have some admittedly very thin hope of seeing this game in our shores. We're most likely stuck to watching Chinese players going at these amazing CryEngine 3 powered creatures on YouTube, but hey, by now we should all know how life is unfair.
Number 5.
Apparently now Wiz decided to pause development on Ein Epicus Incognitus to focus on Bless. But judging by the potential of both games, they had a tough decision to make, but apparently they chose wisely. Bless isn't about revolutionizing the genre. It's about delivering a grand epic with an amazing world that is bound to make many jaws drop. The game has a nice Final Fantasy feel to it, cinematic presentation, and 10 races with personal stories and motivations. Oh yeah, and it has Thundercats, so there's that.
Number 4.
If the anime style was something that you loved in Dragon's Nest, then let me break the news to you. You've been screwed. Yeah, Nexon decided to abandon the colorful visuals and go for a more grounded, realistic, Vindictus look. But to be honest, we are okay with that too, especially since they're going to open the world way up. As for the rest, we're told it will be easier to control and more intuitive. We can't wait to see the first footage on this one.
Number 3.
So Blade & Soul, it's one of those games that could probably bring in a lot of cash to NCSoft, and yet they haven't announced anything for the entire year as far as the North American and European versions are concerned. Which concerns us. It makes us wonder if the English versions will in fact be released in 2014, as it was mentioned in one of the interviews. As for the rest, I mean, you know the deal. It's an over-the-top martial arts MMORPG with semi-action combat and an art style that is just absolutely amazing, and it's different enough from most MMOs. It also features one of the best character creation systems ever seen.
Number 2.
Well, after the first Korean closed beta, we dare say that Black Desert didn't fail us. It's as beautiful as the trailers promised, and it includes really a boatload of features that will make this one of the most exciting MMOs of recent years. Without going into much detail, we are going to have action combat, mounted combat, castle sieges, parkour, seamless sandbox game world, weather system, housing system, open world PvP, a trade system, and more. Hopefully, Pearl Abyss will begin looking for a Western publisher in the first quarter of 2014.
And number 1.
So only a revolution in the making, such as EverQuest Next, could knock Black Desert off our number 1 spot. Sony Online is aiming to deliver a new kind of MMORPG, with a game world where players have a real influence, and then things are shaped according to your actions. EverQuest Next is a reimagining of the entire franchise, and it's divided into 2 parts, with Landmark coming first. In Landmark, players will be able to make objects and buildings that may be featured in EverQuest Next, the actual MMO, but you are also able to explore this world and other players' creations. But the final game will be all that and more. There's the promise of full destructibility, and the idea of an MMO world in permanent change is breathtaking. Then there's a class system with more than 40 classes to mix, and an artificial intelligence that is said to react based on the motivations of an NPC. Combat is still a bit of a mystery, but at this point we could say that it's a mix of tab targeting and action combat. And while some may be against it, we just love the art style, which tries to be a bit cartoony and realistic at the same time. EverQuest Next has to be probably, it is, the most promising free-to-play MMORPG of the last decade. And it's the end of our first update to this list. We hope we managed to give you some insight into these games, and better still, to have introduced you to some of them. Now sit tight, stock up on some food, and hope that the months go by really fast. Until next time, see you later, guys.
Still not sick and tired of all the MOBAs yet? Good for you, because the developers of Heroes of Newerth has just announced another one, Strife. This is another free-to-play MOBA, and the studio expects the 2 games to compete between